make this stuff up. So Brett Winter, probably not his real name, seems to be a fetisher. He really has this strange obsession with little babies and children having their genitals ripped apart by psychopaths with knives. He really has a fetish about it. It's really a sick thing. But this guy takes the cake when it comes to delusions and ad hominems and logical fallacies and ridiculous claims just to justify what is obviously a perversion, a fetish, an obsession, a twisted brain chemistry, some really sick things going on in this twisted minds of these psychopaths that use their ridiculous, outrageously stupid excuses to mutilate babies and children. I mean, just the absolute nonsense. This is a perfect example of how outrageously ludicrous these people really are. I mean, look at this, whatever this is, from Brett Winter. UTIs, rare, easily treatable, actually increase with circumcision. Penile cancer has circumcision has little to no effect besides the fact of removing tissue that can no longer be cancerous, because every tissue can get cancerous. It's one of the rarest forms of cancer known to humans. You're probably more likely to get breast cancer than you are penile cancer, whether or not you're intact or not, unless one. It's just ridiculous. I don't want to get into all these zipper injuries. I mean, get the fuck out of here. Like, zipper injuries are prevented by not having a foreskin. That makes no sense. Like, the foreskin would literally prevent it from getting further along. I mean, come on. It's mind-bogglingly stupid. Phimosis is literally caused by quacktard circumcision doctors who know nothing about the natural physiological development of the foreskin, which is adhered to the glands through the balano prepubal lamina, which the normal break time of the adhesions is 10 years of age. 10 plus years of age is the average break time. So they're force retracting these babies, breaking the balano prepubal lamina, causing scarring, which causes phimosis. It's all nonsense. And every bit of phimosis, 100% of it can be fixed with femocure.net. Go look it up yourself, femocure.net. 100%, like literally 100%. Which means, like, if you can grow skin to increase your size, okay, then you can grow skin to decrease your phimosis, right? So if you can't increase skin size, you can't grow. Like, literally, you would not be living. Do you understand that? Every bit of skin can grow. That's why fat people, their bellies don't explode. The skin doesn't rip open as they get fat. The skin grows. Every doctor knows this. It's through a process called mitosis. Basic fundamental. I mean, just the ridiculousness. The odor. Your mom smells more. Come on. Go smell your grandma, buddy. I mean, you're so worried. STDs. By the way, the foreskin is a friction-reducing device which maintains moisture, acting as lubricant. When you remove the lubricant and you remove the friction-reducing device, if you remove the ball bearings, you remove the grease, you increase friction, increase microtears, you increase STDs. This is why USA has high rates of HIV and STDs. Because, it's crazy. But anyways, let's get into this. So this is a guy, Joe Kennedy, who happens to be a Scottish guy. Most Scottish people are amazing. Scottish are amazing. If it's not Scottish, it's crap. Scottish men, like 99.9% of them all have their entire genitals, right? So these are out of the range weirdos. They're in every society with almost every issue. You got weirdos everywhere. Of all kinds. They're in Britain, they're in the United States. It's especially common in circumcising nations because of the damage this creates in the mind and the loss of sexual fulfillment and function this creates. This creates people that lack the sexual fulfillment, that go to more extreme, sexual fantasies to get fulfilled. So anyways, as a guy who wasn't circumcised at birth but got circumcised in adult, your mind says it so well. I'm so glad I didn't have to deal with any of those things. Wait a minute. So you suffered all of these things until you got circumcised? I mean, get the fuck out of here. Get out of here, bro. Like, nobody else in Scotland, except for you, suffer these things. 5,488 mammal species all have prenile sheaths. They all have a foreskin. Your dog, your cat, your rat, your hamster, they all have it. Like, what is... But you have all these problems. All of these problems, right? I mean, can you guys see the lack of rational, the lack of connection to reality, the lack of any sense of moral, ethical, concern or compassion for the child, empathy for the harm they're creating? They don't care. They want this so bad. They are ulterior motives. Let's stop acting like irrational, ridiculous, nonsensical, just dummy excuses in any way have some sort of rational justification or any grounding in any sort of logical reason or scientific reasoning or anything like that. I mean, it's just this debate that we have to debate benefits of sexually assaulting children when the benefits are so irrational. You would be laughed out of any room with any other human in any other situation in any other body part. I mean, if you said this about feet, I mean, your feet stink sometimes. They're hard to clean. You have to get between them. You can get foot fungus. You can stub your toes. You can get hangnails. I've had 5 hangnails. You know how painful a hangnail is to get ripped out? I've had one done with no anesthesia in the field when I was in the military. It is one of the most painful things I ever remembered. The one that I didn't remember, the one that caused my trauma and pain, the anger issue inside me, that was my circumcision. And I can promise you, having that hangnail ripped out was nothing compared to the torture and abuse I suffered, and the mental damage is created in all the minds of the men. I mean, don't kid yourself. If you're circumcised, you have mental damage. Don't look at yourself in the mirror and try to get all full of yourself. Be like, oh, I'm not one of those guys. Yes, it affects us all in different ways. Yes, we are all unique biologically and physically and genetically. But the fact remains is that every one of us was harmed to a certain extent, to whatever degree that is for you. And the fact is, most of us are in denial to the extent of what that is. And for me to sit there and say, oh yeah, I do have mental issues because of this, or to deny that is denial. It's cowardice. It's denial. Denial is a very cowardly thing, by the way. It's a very common trauma reaction. It's been studied by psychology. We all know it. We all call it. There's slogans told about it. We all know the slogan, denial is not just a river in Egypt, right? We've all heard that before. Why have we all heard that? Because we all know it's denial. Okay, so let's stop with this ridiculous, ego trip that these men have, this denial of what this really is. But anyways, I said some funny things. First off, I'm not anti-trans. I love trans people. I love trans people. They are wonderful, amazing people. They are, intersex trans, all the unique flavors of, if you're gay or straight or bi or whatever you love in your life, I support you doing it correctly with consenting adults within your own home, however many of them you want. I don't care, as long as you're not hurting children, right? But anyways, but the idea is that, we're manly men. We want to be tough. We want to be men, right? If you're masculine men, you want to be more masculine, right? Which means you don't want to have less pee-pee. All right, let's be real here. You don't want to have a smaller, less fulfilling, less functional, less explosive, less enjoyable, less orgasmic genitals. I mean, why? And what? For body shaming? Because some bimbo said you stink? Because some bimbo said, ew, it looks like snuffleupagus. I mean, who fucking cares? So does your dog. So does your grandma. I mean, have you been down there looking at your grandma's junk and being like, ew, she's got a clitoral hood. Oh, look at these flappy labia. We got to get rid of this. But you are against a baby? And it's only okay if it's a male baby. I mean, get the fuck out of here. Anyways, you probably read this, but let's read this. Well said, Sister Bridget. I'll go back to the original. This is the original, Brett. Brett, Bridget, similar thing. Okay. As a woman in a man's body, didn't have the brains of hamsters and rats who somehow, far beyond my capabilities, keep their whole dicks, so I started my whole transition to female as an adult. Your mime says it so well. I'm so glad I didn't have to deal with any of those things that would have been easily fixed if I licked myself once a month like my far more intelligent dog. I just thought that was funny. What else did I say? I said some other things here. Okay, you are an embarrassment, not only to all Scottish men who have ever lived, but our entire male side of the species. You are such a failure of manhood, you chopped off your own hood. Manhood, they go together. You should have a manhood. I want my manhood. My manhood inverts and becomes the most glorious experience of my life. But no, I don't have that. Because, body shaming by some dumb trailer park trash bimbo. I mean, these are not men. These are not men. These are not manly men. I don't care where you are in the gender spectrum. It's a spectrum. We're all on a bell curve with every area of our lives, whether it's intelligence, height, body weight, musculature, dick size, hand, finger length. We're all on a bell curve. Okay, masculine, feminine, whatever. You are somewhere in there on that bell curve. Every one of you who's ever lived has been somewhere on that bell curve. Hi. So anyways, as you can see, it's easy for me to rant. I'm so glad I'm missing my clitoris. Those smally men think my flaps are ooey, says the woman who self-mutilated. It's supposed to be self-mutilated. Ha ha, what a witch of a man. Scottish men have whole dicks, except for pedos, circumfetish, sickos, who would get there. Oh, actually, yeah. So anyways, I don't always play by the PC rules when it comes to, talking shit. I follow the 80s rules, but I also have the 90s and 2000s respect for my different lives and the flavor of humanity. Everybody's different. I respect it all, love it all, appreciate it all. My point is, I use the social shaming that is commonly acceptable and understood by the idiots in our society to reverse shame and, kind of show them the ridiculousness, the idiocracy of their own just ridiculousness. And when it all boils down to it, when you uncover and you peel the onion layers back to that little bulb in the center, it all boils down to psychopathic sickos with extreme bloodlust for attacking children's genitals. They get off on it. They want to do it. There's no reasonable, rational excuse for it. There's no justification in any sense. There's no bell curve when it comes to this issue. This is a non-bell curve, a black and white issue. This is as black and white as it gets. Whether it's FGM or MGM, the minute the knife pierces that child's genitalia, in fact, the mind fixation, the minute your mind becomes fixated on doing this to this certain specific, very, very specific part of a child, a grave abomination of humanity, of this universe, of God, of everything that is worth and valuable, that has meaning in life, has been violated to the utmost, to the most extreme, to the most outrageous, to far beyond what the truth is accepted and given in our society. We are ignorant. We are in denial. We are the Amazon and the Nile combined, flowing through the brains of idiots in our society. And my rant is over. I'm flabbergasted that I have to say these things. I'm mind fluxed that I have to what? I have to tell people to not knife up children's genitalia? But it's just obvious that someone massages that child's genitalia for their own sick, nefarious, whatever, lunatic, toad squirming brain, that's going on in their brain, whatever weird sickness that is. Just to touch it and massage it. But actually strapping that same child down and taking a knife, pliers, knives, clamps, probes, I mean, elastic bands to choke off, cut, and sever into that child's genitalia. That's actually a good thing, a normal thing, a rational thing, a desired thing, a thing that is obsessed and desired and compulsed about by our society to the most extreme extent. They will make up any irrational, ridiculous, nonsensical excuse that would not apply to any other area of life, of mind, of body, of soul, of the universe in such a fashion. And I'm supposed to live in a world and pretend that this is somehow normal. And I'm the one that's weird. I'm the one that's crazy for standing up against this. I'm the lunatic. I'm the one obsessed with children's genitals. I am the one. I'm telling you to leave their children alone. I'm obsessed with what you're obsessed with doing to them. I'm obsessed with ending it, with stopping it, with every atom of my soul, being, spirit, whatever, everything that I am. I know without a shadow of a doubt, there's no brainwashing, no stupid, dumb book written by goat humpers and herders that could ever convince me, ever fool me, ever mislead me into arguing, justifying, wanting to do this to a child. I just, there are no words. There are no words. There's nothing, there's no lower cell, there's no lower foundational principle, there's no more basic common sense reality that you can get to beyond don't cut children's genitals. There is nothing. There is no foundational deeper than that. Don't massage them is outrageous. Massaging them is outrageous. Outrageous to nearly every single human being on the planet. But cutting them is somehow normal and acceptable and almost desired with a lust-like compulsion by the majority of the people on the planet? What? I know people are like, oh no, wait a minute, 70% of men aren't cut. Most of the world doesn't do this. Most of the world's against this. Yes, I understand that. But guess what? Most of the world isn't also doing. They are also not outraged like I am. And if you're not outraged like I am over what I just said, I don't know who you are. I don't know what kind of person you are. Like if you're like a Jordan Peterson or like what's the guy's name? Oh, I'm so bad with the names. Anyways, those types of people, the Gabby Mater, who is the Gabby, if you don't know, he's Gabby Mate is the world's premier child psychologist. The world's premier child psychologist, Jewish psychologist, says nothing about the world's most perverse and most prolific child sexual abuse on the planet that causes the most extreme psychological trauma to children, probably en masse, that's ever been done in humanity. And this guy ignores it. Like, the emperor has no clothes. As a child, I was like, that's so ridiculous. What a stupid story. What a ridiculous story. The emperor's naked in front of you. You can't see his dick dangling down there. You can't see his junk. He's naked. You think he has invisible clothes. Made by the invisible special weaver. You know how ridiculous, how absolutely outrageously stupid could that possibly be? How could that ever take hold in humanity, ever, in a rational, intelligent species? I don't know what else to say. I just don't know what else to say. Like, how many things can I say? Is anybody listening to this? Does anybody care? Does anybody care who listens to this? I get like 100 views and like 5 likes. I'm like, what are you listening to this for? Like, why do you even care? If you don't care, don't watch this. Why are you here? Go away. Don't bother me. You're not humanity to me. There is no value in your life beyond a peanut. Beyond, oops, I stepped on a roach. There is no value beyond that to me, to the life of a person who would hurt and harm a child for any reason, whether it's delusional psychopathy or intentional malice or not. I don't care. I don't care. Because if you hurt children, you have no value as a human being. You have nothing to offer the world. You are damaging the future of humanity. You're damaging life. You're damaging your child. You're damaging our future. Because your damaged child becomes that child that goes and blows and shoots up a school. When you tortured your baby. And you wonder why. He becomes that school shooter. Why America has a problem with school shooters. Why is it so common? Why do we have so many prolific serial killers? We are a psychopathic, sick, twisted, idiotic, sick society. And it is perpetuated throughout the entire world. And those 70% of those men that are intact, blessed be. I know there's a lot of good people in the world. I know that. I know that there's a lot of people, when they open their eyes to this and realize what this really is and wrap their mind around it in any rudimentary fashion, they would immediately come to terms with what it is and immediately understand this whole conversation. Immediately vibe with me. Immediately be the person that hits the like thing. Like, how hard is that? Like, really? To press a like button is hard? Like, I don't care if you do or not. I'm just surprised that I get anyone that watches any one of my videos who, in any fashion that agrees with me in any sense of what I'm saying, doesn't like my shit. Like, doesn't share the post. This is the most pathetic, call out for non-sharing and non-liking I've ever heard, but it's actually one of the most valid ones I've ever heard. You know what I mean? Like, I'm trying to do something here. I'm not saying this for my own benefit. If I wanted to, I could be sitting in a mansion somewhere, drinking pina coladas, smacking some girl in the ass, whoever I wanted, whatever I wanted. If that's what I wanted out of my life, that's what I could have. Because I'm far beyond the intelligence of anybody that would torture and mutilate a child. Like, miles above the intelligence level of these people. And I know I could use my mind, to have created something different. But my focus has not been on that. For the last, even my career was focused on helping people. It wasn't focused on just money or profit as an orthopedic rehab therapist. And then the last 4 or 5 years, I've been doing mostly intactivism. I've been doing this instead of focusing on my business or making money or anything like that. This is what's important to me. And what I get, 6 likes, 5 likes? I mean, come on. We need to band together and stop, allowing this evil to perpetuate itself in our society. And we need to step up to the plate. Quit being a bunch of little pussies. We're a bunch of little scared, whiny, I don't want to offend somebody. Shut the fuck up. When you act like this is what it is, which is a violent sexual assault of a child of the worst kind, of the highest level of trauma and torture and pain and damage, sexual damage, A hidden sexual damage that affects the person for life? Like, what's more evil than that? What is more evil? There's nothing more evil than that. Like murder, yeah, of course. But like come on. Like, act like it is what it is. If everyone act like it is what it is, we would be in the streets like rioting in the most pristine neighborhood in the country. The mansions, the kids would be out in the street rioting. Every single human being on this planet would be rioting, outraged. We would be hunting down anyone that had anything to do with this, harming children. We would go after them as a species and eliminate them if our species had value that we want to believe that we have. That's the extent that we would go to. That's the extent that we should be willing to go to end this evil assault of our children. I mean, it doesn't get worse than this. You can't make this up. You can't make this level of psychopathic society-wide delusion up. This is the most extreme version of outrageous evil that you could exist. This is it. We are it. And we point the fingers at the other societies and they're not as advanced as us. They don't have as much technology as us, as education as us. And we have school systems and doctors, and we have firefighters and lawyers and pharmacists, and yet we can't stop abusing our own babies, knifing up babies. What? Like, that's how outrageous it is. It's almost so outrageously evil. It's so outrageously evil that we can't even fathom that we could be part of this. That we could have anything to do with this as the society we think we are. Our egos are so big that this is so evil, we can't even wrap the mind around the fact that we are doing this to babies. To babies. For UTIs? For phimosis? For a 1 in 100,000 chance of some rare penile cancer? Japan and Scandinavia have lower penile cancer rates than America does. And they have their whole penis. You can't make this level of Brett Winter up. You cannot make this up, U.S. Air Force kid. You cannot make this up. What is in the mind of this person? Like, what is in his soul that he wants so bad? He's lacking so much that he wants this so bad to do this to children, to helpless little babies. What could create a mind so twisted, so sick, so disgusting? I mean, I can't believe I'm human. I can't believe another mind that has any similarity to mine could ever be this sick, twisted. It's like that Doors song, the squirming like a toad, talking about the serial killer. Yeah. These people create serial killers. When you do your study, oh yeah, I know I'm making such an outrageous claim. How crazy is that claim? How outrageous? I must be lunatic. I must be psychopathic. I mean, no, I live in a psychopathic, lunatic society. That claim that torturing and sexually assaulting and abusing babies is not rationally understood as creating mentally damaged and deranged men. I mean, how is it not obvious? How is that not duh? Like, yeah, 2 + 2 = 4. Don't eat yellow snow. Don't mutilate children's genitals. I mean, like I said, it goes to the very foundational. It's so outrageous we can't even accept that we do it as a society. That's why this sick level of denial. It is outrageous to me. It is an abomination of I can't come up with words to say how outrageously disgusted I am by anyone who denies the damage and harm of trauma to children and the extent of that trauma and damage and how far it goes. I have no respect for such a person. None. I have no compassion, no concern for their well-being. I think that if they were not here on this planet, the world would be a better place. Circumcise the circumcisers. If you circumcise the right place, there will be no more circumcision of children. Promise you. Promise you. And that's where we need to go. But I know where we're at. I get it. We can't go out there and do harmful things to other people. We have to be very aware of what we're doing and how we're preventing this. But what I'm saying is that we need to be forceful. We need to be in their face. We need to be outraged. We need to be angry. We need to put our bodies on the gears of the machines in order to stop this. We need to do what it takes, non-violently, without, of course, doing something that would put us in harm's way or in danger or anybody else. I'm not advocating violence. I'm totally against that. But I think that the gravity of the situation, morally and ethically, there is nothing. There is no limit. There is no moral, there's no limit you can draw that can be done as a punishment or to a child abuser as either punishment or justice, because justice is a term. Revenge is a thing that can be done. There's nothing that can be done to them that is morally incorrect. Now, legally, of course, you could do something that could cause you to go to jail, and then that would be a bad thing. I would never support that. I'm very against that. My point is that morally, ethically, as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to the universe, men's laws, the laws of men are flawed. The moral laws of the universe, the ethical principles that guide humanity, that allowed us to become social creatures, that gave us love and empathy and compassion and value, those come from emotion. Those should be the light that turn you away from harming children and should teach you the gravity of what's being done to our children.